all about Scorpio part 14. So it's time once again for that Scorpio spotlight. The last time and the first one that we did was talking about Seth MacFarlane. Okay, so for those of you who still do not know who Seth MacFarlane is, definitely a genius, the creator of Family Guy. And speaking of which, I was so surprised somehow that, there are a lot of people checking among all the videos that I posted about Scorpios. A lot of people are really, viewing that particular audio recording about Seth MacFarlane. And I guess, it's also because he has a lot of fans worldwide, and I appreciate for you checking out the audio recordings that I'm posting, even the one that I did talking about Seth MacFarlane, how Scorpio is Seth MacFarlane. Really appreciate all that, for liking it and for viewing it. Again, we're going to talk about a different Scorpio personality this time, but they're pretty much similar in some ways, okay? I believe in the last recording I've mentioned that Seth MacFarlane, if you take a look at his eyes, they don't exactly look alike, but there's a similarity between Leonardo DiCaprio and Seth MacFarlane. Look at the eyes. It's like Seth is actually older brother or something, or cousins or whatever. Who's older, who's younger? Doesn't matter, right? But just look at the eyes, okay? And you'll see the eyes of a Scorpio. My sister was like, no, they don't look alike. And I was like trying to look it up, Googling it, and I was like, you know what? I don't think, I was the only one who observed that they both have the same, some, not pretty much exactly the same, but there are similar features. And there you go. I saw it on the website. And some people are saying that he's starting to, Seth is starting to look like Leo, or Leo's starting to look like Seth. It's funny, okay? So, for All About Scorpio, Part 14, our Scorpio Spotlight, it's going to be the ever-famous and who recently bagged that little golden man Oscar award for the best actor for his movie Revenant. That's going to be Leonardo DiCaprio. Yep, how Scorpio is DiCaprio. It rhymes. Oh my god. This one's pretty good. It should be. Okay. So, how Scorpio is Leonardo DiCaprio. It's not just a pretty boy, type. We've known this actor for such a long time already. I remember I was so young. I was never like a huge fan of Leonardo DiCaprio, by the way. Not a totally huge fan, especially, during the times when, he was making a lot of, cheesy films. I would call it cheesy. Like The Boy Next Door kind of film. Too cheeky and too the sweet-faced, angelic boy next door, whatever. I'm not a fan of, those roles that he was playing, or he was portraying, rather, back then. So I never look at him as a great actor until, I started to think twice when I was watching Gilbert Grape. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? I think personally that he should have won, an award for that really great film. And he's also, working with Johnny Depp is also my favorite actor. Used to work with him on that movie. And I'm not sure if Juliette Lewis was also in that film, because I love Juliette Lewis, by the way. Anyway, going back to Leonardo DiCaprio, how Scorpio he is. Again, many people, look at him at first like he just have that pretty boy looks, that he can't act. In fact, I read some reviews about this newest film, or that film, Revenant, where he got that Oscar award for Best Actor 2016. And there were also some, of course, you can expect some negative comments. Some people are really like throwing some, negative feedbacks like he should have won the Oscar. He's not a really great actor. You get a lot of comments from other people thinking he never deserved that award for Best Actor. But honestly, as I've mentioned earlier, I never look at him as someone who's really, really, like too fascinating until it came to a point where I noticed that he's actually reinventing himself, and that's a sign of a Scorpio. Like, it's always changing. The sign that's always changing, most definitely, it's a Scorpio. It's death and rebirth. So it's constantly changing and reinventing themselves. Sometimes they're just going to self-sabotage, kill themselves, and then rise back up from the flames, like a phoenix. So I look at that part where I saw that Leonardo was successfully able to get out of those, roles where he's just, that having that pretty boy next door face, or a pretty face, and teeny bopper films or whatever, those films that, or those shows that are, basically it's just really talking about how hot he is on that film. But honestly, even back, when he did the film Romeo and Juliet, I love that film because I love the story and how they were able to, try to make a modern Romeo and Juliet film. And he did a really good, it was really perfect for that role. Personally, that's what I think. So there are a lot of, great movies in which he was a part of it. And to name a few, aside from What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and then Romeo and Juliet, Titanic, of course. Everybody, who doesn't know Titanic? But that's not actually my favorite DiCaprio movie. I would have to say I like this movie called Catch Me If You Can, in which he portrayed as Frank Abagnale Jr. That was really great. The Departed, what else? I haven't watched Shutter Island, but I know I'm missing a lot, but I was told that it was a great film. But one of my favorite DiCaprio films, aside from that, would be Inception. And of course, yeah, again, like what I've mentioned, Blood Diamond. So there are a lot of films in which he was, a part of it, and he did a great job. So I was like, okay, so he's really reinventing himself, really trying to get out of those teeny bopper kind of, roles or whatever. He's starting to get more, more serious roles, more mature. So there you go. That's what I call reinvention of a Scorpio, or, Scorpio's changing, for the better, because although they're a fixed sign, but, we are a fixed sign, Scorpio, but we try to change from time to time, So that's one thing for me personally, what makes him a Scorpio, aside from when it comes to the physical looks, or the physical side. His eyes definitely is the striking one. He has the most, magnetic eyes, chinky but really piercing, just like Seth MacFarlane. That's why, they're pretty much similar. But Leo's eyes is more, piercing, really piercing. And he has this kind of like, when I was a kid being interviewed on different shows like Entertainment E! Or other, famous shows in the United States, he used to be like that, the boy who doesn't have a care in the world and all that. And of course he matured enough, and now he is more of like, the typical Scorpio who is very, he looks serious, really serious. Like, yeah, you know, he's like, there's so much that he's thinking about. You know, whenever I'm looking at him during interviews, I was like, this guy has a lot in his mind, you know, a lot in his mind, and that he's really not, you know, not really, you know, speaking it out, or not, you know, not really expressing it, no matter how hard he tries it. And aside from the fact that he's a, you know, he's a magnet, you know, he's that magnetic personality. He magnetizes beautiful women out there. When it comes to relationships, he's been, you know, involved with a lot of models. He's after those, you know, really beautiful models. Most of them are blondes, by the way. That's what I noticed or observed. But he's really into models even when he was a kid, right? I think he got also involved with Kate Moss because I think because I was a fan of the modeling world ever since I was a kid as well, being a Scorpio. So when I was a kid, I wanted to be a model. You know I don't have the looks and the height for it, but I was like really wishing when I was a kid, you know, to become a model. Because I'm really into fashion. I love dressing up. I love creating my own style. So, and Leo, being involved with a lot of models, you know, appreciating their beauty and all that. So I think at that time, because I like Kate Moss, by the way, the wave era. So I think it got involved, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it got involved with Kate Moss in the past. So when it comes to relationships, him being a Scorpio is more of like the typical private type. Scorpios are very private, especially when it comes to their relationships. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want other people meddling or really trying to, you know, to get into their business when it comes especially to their relationships, personal relationships. And it's, you know, I am surprised, but not totally, that he's still single right now, you know. I guess he just broke up with some model. I forgot her name, but because I was trying to do some, you know, a little bit of a research about Leonardo DiCaprio. I know him, but I'm not really, to be quite honest, I'm not like a really huge fan of DiCaprio. But when I actually checked out the girls that he was involved with, I didn't see Kate Moss. That's why I was, you know, really trying to confirm with you guys if that was true, because I believe that he, you know, he once dated her. They became girlfriends or a couple. But anyway, I was, you know, trying to check out the relationships, the women that he's been involved with, and most of them, if not all of them, are models, actually. So he's really into supermodels. And the playboy type. They say that, you know, Scorpio guys are the playboy type. They love to flirt with women. They love, yeah, I've seen most of the Scorpio guys that I know, they're great flirts. They love to flirt with women, you know. Even if, you know, they're not really that too pretty, but, you know, they just love to flirt. You know, that's what I noticed about Scorpio guys. So that's one. Number two, the women that he was involved with or been in a relationship with, I noticed that most of them are water signs. And most of them are actually Cancerians. So there you go. I think we've talked in the past on the previous recordings that Scorpio men goes really, really well with with Cancer women. I know a lot of Scorpio guys whose wife or girlfriend is actually a Cancer, or born under that zodiac sign. So yeah, I don't know if it's just a coincidence. I know people who's not really a fan of astrology would just, you know, laugh about it. Even Leo himself. I'm going to read that to you. This one interview, and they talked about him being a Scorpio, you know. But, of course, you have to be open about things. You know, there is a truth, whether you believe it or not, but definitely there's truth behind, you know, characteristics, certain characteristics of each sun signs. And these are just one of the things that I've observed so far. But call it coincidence or not, I just noticed or observed that most of the ladies or the women that he's been involved with are actually Cancers or Cancerians, okay? And some of them are actually earth signs, either Virgo and Capricorn. So, because Scorpio, they, in general, not just men, but in general, Scorpio goes well with water signs, fellow water signs, and earth signs as well. Okay. So, aside from that, number 3 would be, I'm losing count. Is it number 3? Anyway, aside from that, I noticed that he is very private, like what I've mentioned earlier, very private with his, relationship with his personal life. Now, a lot of people, of course, are, asking, why is it that he's still single? For someone who has the, the looks and somehow a really good reputation for being a great actor, being in the industry for that long, and being admired by a fellow Scorpio, Scorsese. Yeah, I just also realized that. I think Scorsese really saw some potential in Leonardo DiCaprio. And if I'm not mistaken, Scorsese is actually a Scorpio. Yeah, Martin Scorsese, yeah. So, those are the things that I've noticed, okay? Those are just the observations. But then again, going back, he's still single until now. After, bagging a lot of awards or being nominated so many times, and finally he has gotten, an Oscar for his latest film, Revenant. Why is it that this guy is still single? He's actually 42 years old, I think, yeah? Do the math. He was born November 11, I guess, 1974. So, close, I think 42 this year. So, or 41, I'm not sure. I suck at math, by the way. But, there you go. Like, you would wonder why. Well, number 1, as a Scorpio, I think it's more of because, again, you should, take note that Scorpios are very secretive, okay? There are things that, especially as an actor, come on, why is he going to tell you everything? And they're very good at keeping secrets, so who knows, right? Another thing is, a lot of Scorpios that are still single until now, are actually really looking for the one true love, that soulmate kind of feeling. I know that some of you Scorpios are going to laugh, or some of you guys who are not born under that sign, Scorpio, would probably, raise their eyebrow. But yeah, I've seen a lot of Scorpios, or heard a lot of stories from fellow Scorpios, especially guys, they're on that journey finding that one true love for them. So I believe I've mentioned this on the previous recordings, that Scorpio, being tagged as, highly sexual and all that, sex and love is totally different for a Scorpio. The love is different, and making love, which is sex, or having sex with the woman that he truly loves, is magical. It's like, the connection is there, mind, body, and soul, call them picky. Call us picky. I'm also, a lot of people, when I was single, they were asking, why are you still single? Why is it that, you never, you're still not married? I'm already 36 this year. So, a lot of people are wondering, why is it that I'm not married yet and all that. It's because, Scorpios, they do want to take a lot of time, as much as possible on some serious things. We don't want to jump, right ahead and, we try to contemplate, think about it first, analyze it before jumping into a situation or into a decision, whatever that is, you know. So marriage is something of, a serious thing for Scorpio. It's rare for Scorpios getting married out of security, actually, because they're already secure themselves. So it's quite, unless, it depends on the situation, but most Scorpios would actually get married to someone because they wanted, to spend the rest of their life with that person. They found that person to be the right person for them. So call us picky or whatever, but, that's also one truth, okay, about Scorpio people, men and women. Perhaps that's, probably, I'm not sure, but probably that's, the reason as well why, Leo DiCaprio is still single until now. I was able to watch one of the interviews, because, again, let me just, state this. I am not really a huge fan of DiCaprio, but I tried to do some, a little bit of research, especially on the interviews. I tried to watch it, and I the topic about relationships, getting married, and all that stuff was brought up. And I think he is that kind of, according to him, like he's, when he was 21 years old, like he mentioned on that interview that marriage was never in his realm. And number two, I think I watched this another interview, him saying that he wanted actually a girl who's very sincere. And I smiled when when he actually said that. It's so Scorpio, I tell you. There were actually two different interviews. One was actually a Japanese show where he was asked, what type of girls do you want? And he, instantly said, I like a girl, or I want a girl who's with a very good personality. And number two, he said, with a lot of sense of humor. And then I guess he was asked, like, if he had to choose between the two, like, which one is better? Then he said, like, I really like a woman who has a lot of, a great sense of humor, he said. And there was another interview where he was also asked pretty much the same type of question, because, oh, come on, that question is like, come on. A lot of people are like dying to know what type of girls do you like, or, why is it that you're still single until now, things like that. I think he mentioned in this one interview that he wanted a girl who's very sincere. Yeah, that was it. I was like, I smiled when I heard that from him during that interview. He said, I really do not like girls, or the types that really turn him off. Those are the girls who are very superficial, so fake. Girls with pretty much, of course, a bad personality, but, fake girls, or people, girls who are actually too overreacting, or, trying to be, probably, the type who's actually, faking it, is definitely not his type, it turns him off. And I was like smiling when he said that, because he goes for women who are actually, according to him, who's so sincere, because it's rare to see women who is, so sure of themselves, confident, and really sincere. So that one is a side of a Scorpio that I saw in him during that interview. I was like, okay, yeah, because Scorpio, like what I've said in the past, and coming from, from Leo himself, that's the type of girl that he wants. A lot of Scorpios, or Scorpios in general, would actually go for someone who is actually sincere and honest. Again, I've said this 1,000 times, whether it's friendship, whether it's a colleague or whatever relationship that is, whether it's friendship or romantic or significant other romantic relationship, Scorpios really go for someone who's really honest because they value honesty, they value trust, and they value respect. So those are, major things that Scorpio goes for. So to hear him saying that he wants a woman who's very sincere, he dislikes women who are superficial or acting like to be nice or not, or probably, too fake. It's definitely not going to work for Scorpio. So if you're the type who's actually, acting it up and, trying to be the goody two-shoes when you're not, or whatever, just be yourself, because Scorpio will find out anyway. They will definitely, find out and really unmask you, who you really are effortlessly. That one is so freaking true, being a Scorpio myself. So I know that. And most of the Scorpio guys that I know as well also goes for that type of women. They really wanted women who were actually very independent, not too clingy, and they wanted a lot of challenge from them, and at the same time was very sincere, very honest. Okay. Especially when it comes to a relationship, if, just come to think of it, if your wife or your girlfriend is actually, not being honest with you, not being open to you, and then the Scorpio guy would find out that his wife or his significant other is actually cheating on him, sleeping with a lot of men or whatever, what do you think is going to happen, right? Because Scorpios are uber jealous. They're really possessive and jealous of their loved ones, of their partners. So there you go. That's why, and at the same time, they don't like superficiality, They want someone who's very upfront, very direct, very honest. So I guess those are just one of the things that I noticed or observed about Leonardo DiCaprio. Where I couldn't, try to mention other things because, again, I'm not really like a huge fan of him, but I do admire the guy, really. And I think he really has this potential of being a great actor. You won the Oscars, right? He just recently won one. I tried to read this feedback where some people who are actually saying that he doesn't deserve the award. I don't totally disagree with what they're saying. I was really trying to look at the two sides of things, but definitely what I can say is he's a really good actor. He is a good actor. May not be the best actor for me or, whose performance really wowed me, but yeah, he has that potential, and I was like, really smiling and, actually laughing when I saw this article, criticizing Leonardo DiCaprio for winning the Best Actor for the movie Revenant. And that author, or whoever that is, was actually saying that, why I don't like Leonardo DiCaprio? Because whenever I watch all of his films, I'm looking at Leo, not the character. Meaning to say, he's not really good trying to portraying, like, the role. Like, every time he looks at Leo, or he's watching Leo's films, he's still seeing Leonardo DiCaprio. He's not seeing the actor or the part that he's playing, something like that. And somehow I would agree to it. I'm just being very blunt, how blunt Scorpio is, but there are other films where, it's still Leo. You get what I mean? I don't know. There's this part that I agree with that guy who wrote, some bad reviews or comments about Leonardo DiCaprio, but if you ask me personally, I still like the guy. I really like how he tried to reinvent himself. He's changing. He is, for me, he's still a great actor. He's still a great actor. He has that potential. I like most of his films anyway. So, although I'm not really like a huge fan of him. So, there you go. Okay. Anyway, before I end this recording, I think we've been talking about almost like, talking here rather about 30 minutes already. Let me just read this, and something to do with his sun sign of being a Scorpio, which is quite funny. This was from the GQ.com. And it says here, let me just read it to you, okay? There's a supposedly scientific study reported in the Los Angeles Times today proving that famous people are more narcissistic than others. And then Leonardo DiCaprio responded saying, I'm sure, isn't that the very nature? It wasn't mind-blowing evidence, right? I thought you were going to tell me the news about Pluto not being a planet. And then the interviewer said, no, but I'm not happy about that. And then Leo said, me neither. I'm a Scorpio. I'm supposed to be ruled by Pluto. So you're fucked. Leo said, I know. I'm no longer part of the zodiac. What does it mean you're supposed to be like? Okay. He responded by saying, Scorpio's passionate. He snorts derisively, driven, secretive, highly sexual, and something else. I forgot. And I know what your next question is going to be. And how accurate do you think that is according to who you are, sir? So does that seem like a vaguely reasonable summary? Very vague. Yeah, very vaguely. I laughed when I saw that one. And he snorted when he said that Scorpios are actually are passionate, driven, secretive, highly sexual. But actually, that's true. Whether he hides that or not, or whether he admits to that or not, yeah, Scorpios are passionate. Look at, how passionate he is about his roles, right? About his job, really not giving up on working hard to be on the top. Working hard towards the goal. A lot of people knock him down, said a lot of bad things, that he's not a good actor and all that. He was still being seen as someone who's, that guy from Titanic, or probably that cutesy guy from Romeo and Juliet. But, he actually, even though he was knocked down many times already, he's still, very passionate about his work, going towards the goal. And I think that is a sure, indication or a sign of being a Scorpio. And he's very secretive, okay? He's secretive, is very driven, and highly sexual. Come on. So anyway, sometimes Scorpio would just laugh about it or snort about it, but because they don't want to be I'm going to tell you a secret, because, when Scorpio got caught in a situation where someone told him the exact truth, or, whatever that is, Scorpio would actually just laugh about it and then pretend and look at you straight in the face as if he was not fazed at all, or he was unmoved, and that he would still pretend as if, it's nothing. He can definitely mask his emotions, or sometimes laugh about it. But the truth is, deep inside him, he knows, he knows what it was, really. So, that's it about Scorpios. So I think, in a nutshell, I think how Scorpio is DiCaprio. He's really a Scorpio, even though he doesn't believe in that, in all those stuffs, or he probably would, snort about it or laugh about it. But he definitely is, a Scorpio, a typical Scorpio guy. There's passion, there's the drive, the ambition, there's, the thirst for beauty, beautiful women, okay? Being very secretive, not very comfortable talking about his, private life. And remaining single until now, probably looking for that one true love, and who knows? The guy is really good at keeping secrets. A Scorpio is really good at keeping secrets, so who knows, really? But yeah, I would say that this DiCaprio is actually, one of the, typical Scorpios that you meet, actually. So let me know what you think. And once again, before I end this recording, I'd like to thank everybody for actually listening to the audio recordings that I'm posting. I know that, some of them are really silly, stupid, but I just do this for fun. I like to talk about things that I'm very passionate about. So that's me being a Scorpio, and hoping to actually help other people out there who's actually dealing with a Scorpio, knowing more about their Scorpio partner, colleague, whatever. But everything that I've actually mentioned, past recordings, all of it are true. And I'm not just basing it off the textbooks or the articles. I'm also basing it on personal experiences, and hope that helped you a lot. So once again, thank you so much for actually trying to listen to the recordings I've been, posting. So, it's already part 14. So I'm not sure what else should I talk about Scorpios on the next recording. Let's see. Who knows? Probably we'll, try to talk about more Scorpio personalities out there. And speaking of the Scorpio spotlight, thank you so much, because I saw a lot of people really trying to visit that recent Scorpio spotlight that I did, Seth MacFarlane. So thank you for watching that. Thank you for liking it. And I really thank my fellow Scorpio subscribers. You know who you are. I've checked it and I was like, wow, I see this, this person a lot of times in tarot readings. That Scorpios are into the occult, right? I would be really surprised if you find a Scorpio is not really into, if not into the occult, something very, something to do with mysteries, or something to do with crime, or something to do with the detective stuff. If they're not into the occult, the tarot, or the paranormal stuff, then you would find them, being hooked or really engaged and, in topics or in things like crime or detective or psychology, something to do with uncovering hidden mysteries. So thank you. And I've seen a lot of Scorpios, really into the tarot readings and the paranormal stuff. You guys are cool, really. So, and for that fellow subscriber who was a Scorpio, thank you so much. I appreciate it, really. You know who you are. And I actually just wanted to say that I'm really happy that I was able to get in touch with, adding more Scorpio people in my list, okay? Because, most of the people that I know are either, again, Scorpios or Cancers. Water signs mostly, and then earth signs. So, just like Leonardo DiCaprio. Come on, look at him. He's been involved with a lot of Cancerians and earth signs as well, okay? I wonder what zodiac sign is Aretha Wilson. Okay, anyway, I don't want to get in trouble for it, but I gotta go. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.